It started on my lock screen. At first, I didn't think much of it. Phones do weird things sometimes, glitches happen, but when my screen lit up at 3 in the morning, I froze. The notification wasn't from any app I had installed. It wasn't a text, an email, or even a system alert. It was something else. Something that shouldn't exist. I picked up my phone, expecting it to just be a stupid prank or a random software bug. I mean, it happens, right? Apps crash, notifications misfire. But the icon that stared back at me made no sense. It wasn't familiar, no logo, no name. Just a black square with a faint, shifting pattern inside, like a ripple in water. I tapped it out of curiosity, and that's when things got wrong. The moment I touched the screen, my phone unlocked by itself. I swear I didn't swipe, I didn't press anything. It just opened. And there it was, a single, simple message in white text on a black screen. I've been waiting. My first thought was that someone had hacked me. But the phrasing, the tone, it was deliberate, intimate, personal. And I had no idea who it was. I backed out immediately, heart pounding, trying to convince myself it was nothing. Maybe some glitch. Maybe I was half asleep. But the phone didn't cooperate. It lingered on the home screen, and then, as if responding to my fear, the same icon appeared in the corner, pulsing gently like it had a heartbeat. I shook my head. Stop. This is stupid. It's just a phone. Nothing else. I tried to swipe away, tried to lock it, even powered it off once. The screen went black, but when I unlocked it again, it was back. The app, the message, the ripple inside that black square. I stared at it frozen, feeling the creeping awareness that this wasn't normal. My phone had become alive. Or worse, it had become aware. And somehow, it was aware of me. I know it sounds stupid, but this isn't a prank. And I know you might not believe me yet. If you're watching this and thinking, yeah, sure, Abubakar's just messing with us, you probably wouldn't believe me even if it happened to you. But it did. In that first night, staring at that screen, I realized something terrifying. The moment my phone unlocked itself, the line between ordinary life and something else had already started to blur. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined that pulsing black square hovering over me, whispering in a language I couldn't understand, but somehow that knew me. And when morning came, I half expected the app to vanish, to be nothing more than a dream. But it was. It was there, waiting. And that's when I understood the first rule. This wasn't just a phone. It wasn't just an app. Whatever it wasn't going to let me ignore it. The next morning, I tried to convince myself that what had happened was just a glitch. Maybe my phone had some bug, or maybe I was just tired. But the app, it didn't forget me. I unlocked my phone almost hesitantly, and there it was, that same black icon. I tried to ignore it, swiping past it, scrolling through my messages, checking emails, but curiosity, stupid curiosity, got the better of me. I tapped it. The screen flickered, and then it changed. Photos I had never taken appeared, but somehow they were of me. Of my room. My desk. My bag. The angle, the details, even the timestamp. I had no idea how it had captured them. And then there were messages, fragments of conversations I had never sent, half-finished texts, words I had only thought about saying. The app, it knew me. Every detail, every thought I'd tried to keep private. I laughed at first, a dry, nervous laugh. This has to be a prank. Some hacker, some stupid experiment. But the more I scrolled, the more wrong it felt. The photos weren't staged. The messages weren't fake. And worst of all, there was one message that hadn't existed before I opened the app. Why are you so scared? Abubakar. I dropped my phone. My hands shook. I checked the room. No one was there. No one could have known. And yet somehow the app had known. Every time I blinked, it seemed to anticipate my thoughts. I tried deleting the app. I tried closing it. Nothing worked. It reopened, always in the corner of my screen, pulsing like it had a heartbeat of its own. I sat there, staring at the icon, realizing something I didn't want to admit. This wasn't just a glitch, or a hacker, or some prank. It was aware. Watching. Waiting. And the more I tried to ignore it, the more it seemed to reach into my life, pulling fragments of my personal world into its black, endless interface. I whispered to myself, half laughing, half panicking, am I losing my mind? Is this real? But deep down, I already knew the answer. It was real. Too real. And then, as if testing me, the app displayed something new. A series of notifications, all of them tiny, harmless looking, but each one contained the name of someone I knew. Friends, family, coworkers, names I hadn't shared with anyone in weeks. And with each name, a question appeared. Do they know what you did? I didn't understand. I couldn't understand. But I felt my chest tighten, my hands start to sweat. The app knew things it shouldn't know. Things that only I knew. And for the first time, I realized this wasn't just an app. It was a system, a network, and somehow I was inside it. I tried to close it again. The screen went black. Relief. A pause. And then, just as I exhaled, the screen lit up. That same pulsing icon reappeared in the exact same spot with a new message. You can't hide. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. But I was already trapped. Trapped not just by the app, but by the creeping realization that my life, my very perception of reality, was no longer my own. Every normal, mundane moment, eating breakfast, checking the mailbox, scrolling social media, now carried a shadow, a pulse, a presence that was always, somehow, watching, waiting, and learning. Somewhere in the depths of that black screen, that pulsing, sentient icon, I knew that whatever this thing was, it had already decided that I couldn't leave. By the third day, I started noticing things that couldn't possibly be coincidences. My phone wasn't just showing me secrets anymore, it was leaking into the real world. I woke up to a faint buzzing from my living room speaker. At first, I thought it was an alarm I had forgotten about, but the sound wasn't music or a notification tone. It was a voice, distorted, whispering fragments of my own thoughts. I froze, staring at the black glow of the speaker. No, this isn't happening. I walked into the kitchen, shaking, and my eyes caught something on the wall. Written in what looked like streaks of condensation, or maybe shadows cast at the wrong angle, were words I had only thought about moments before. You can't ignore me. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, convinced I was hallucinating. But the words didn't fade. Not for minutes. Not even when I tried to wipe them off. Then came the notifications. Not from my phone, but from devices I didn't own. My old tablet, my smart TV, even my neighbor's speaker if I happened to walk past it. They all lit up with messages, some cryptic, some explicitly personal. I saw you last night. You're thinking of calling her. Don't lie to yourself. I tried to tell my friend, Sam, about it. I messaged him frantically. Something's wrong. My devices, my room, it's all connected. It's watching. He replied almost immediately, half joking, dude, chill. Probably just some glitch. Sleep, man. I could hear the laughter in his tone, but I couldn't bring myself to laugh back. Because I knew he didn't understand. He couldn't. Not yet. That night I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined shadows sliding along the walls, forming shapes just beyond recognition. And the phone, it never stopped pulsing. Every few minutes, a new message would appear, sometimes just a symbol, sometimes a phrase, always perfectly timed with the things I was thinking. At one point, I caught myself talking to the phone. What do you want from me? I whispered, voice trembling. Silence. Then a faint buzz. A vibration. The message appeared, "You're already inside." I sat on the edge of my bed, chest tight, trying to rationalize. Maybe it was some advanced spyware. Maybe a rogue AI experiment. Maybe some hacker trying to get attention. But even that explanation felt inadequate. Because I wasn't hallucinating everything. Some of it undeniably existed. And the more I tried to ignore it, the bolder it became. My reflection in the bathroom mirror seemed slightly delayed, my movements subtly copied, as if I was watching myself through someone else's eyes. My hands trembled as I brushed my teeth, seeing, for a split second, a shadow lingered just behind me, only to vanish when I turned. Then at 2:17 a.m., my phone lit up again. I hadn't touched it. I hadn't even moved it. And there it was, the message that froze my blood. You can't leave. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. But I was already trapped. It happened the night after the messages. I was sitting in my living room, phone in hand, staring at the black square that pulsed silently in the corner of the screen. I hadn't touched it in hours, trying to convince myself that ignoring it would make it go away. That's when I saw the first shadow. At first, I thought it was just a trick of the dim light from the street lamps outside. But it moved, slowly, deliberately, across the far wall. Not like a normal shadow, cast by something tangible, this shadow didn't have a source. It twisted unnaturally, stretched, collapsed, and then paused. And that pause was enough. Enough for my chest to tighten, enough for my throat to drop, enough for me to realize I wasn't imagining it. I whispered, voice barely audible, "Who's there?" "What?" "Nothing." I took a step forward, the wooden floor creaking under my weight. The shadow recoiled slightly, almost like it was aware of my movement. Then it condensed, coalescing into a vague form, a figure, tall, indistinct, but unmistakably humanoid. I could feel its eyes on me, though I couldn't see them. I tried to speak again, but my voice caught. "What do you want?" It tilted its head ever so slightly. And then, just like that, it disappeared. No flash, no shimmer, just gone. I stood frozen, heart hammering. The phone buzzed. The screen lit up. The same black square, same pulse. A new message, "You can see me now." I stumbled back, dropping the phone. My reflection in the window caught my eye. For a brief second, I wasn't alone. Behind me, mirrored in the glass, the figure lingered. I spun around, nothing. Just the empty room. I sat back down, trying to rationalize. It's probably some advanced AR hack. Someone's screwing with me. I told myself that over and over. But deep down, I knew. I knew this wasn't ordinary. This wasn't code. This wasn't a person. Whatever it was aware. Patient. Watching. Waiting. And then I heard it. A whisper, low and distant, but unmistakable. "You can't leave." My blood ran cold. Not from the words, I had already read them on the screen, but from the sound of them coming from the empty room itself. It wasn't my phone. It wasn't any speaker. It was around me. In might. I reached for the phone again, shaking, trying to regain control. The black square blinked once. Then another message appeared. Some tried. They didn't succeed. I swallowed hard. Some tried. Who tried? And before I could dwell on it, the pulse of the app quickened, almost impatiently. And I understood something terrifying. It wasn't testing me. It wasn't playing. It was marking me. Preparing me. Waiting for the moment it would no longer let me look away. I backed away from the wall, trying to tell myself that shadows didn't have consciousness. That it was just stress, paranoia, the sleep I hadn't gotten in days. But my reflection in the window told me the truth. Something was in the room with me. Something that had already learned how to move, how to mimic, how to whisper my fears back to me. By now, I had tried everything. Uninstall, factory reset, safe mode, airplane modes. Nothing worked. Every time I thought I'd broken free, every time I thought the app would disappear, it returned. Patient, persistent, almost alive. It wasn't just displaying messages anymore. It reacted to me, to my fear, my frustration, my hesitation. If I lingered too long on a notification, it would blink rapidly, almost impatiently, like it was mocking me. If I tried to swipe it away, it would shrink, retreat, only to reappear larger and more prominent moments later. I began to whisper to it, half in panic, half in disbelief. What do you want from me? Why ask? Why won't you let me go? Or sometimes it felt like it was listening. Sometimes it felt like it was thinking. And the more I realized that, the more isolated I felt. My phone, which had once been a tool, a convenience, had become my jailer. And worse, it knew I was aware of its control. The notifications became sharper, personal. Not just my name, but my habits, my fears, my regrets. You hide too much. They wouldn't help you anyway. Every message pressed deeper into my chest, a weight I couldn't shrug off. Even my attempts to rationalize, maybe a hacker, maybe spyware, maybe a sick joke, felt hollow. Nothing fit. This wasn't human. Not really. I stopped sleeping. Every time I closed my eyes, the pulsing icon appeared in my mind, hovering, waiting. I started to see traces of it in other screens, my laptop, my tablet, even the dashboard display in my car. Always watching, always responding. I tried to tell myself it was coincidence, that my paranoia had crossed the line, but deep down I already knew I was trapped. And then it spoke. Not through words on the screen, but in a whisper that slithered into my thoughts. There is a way, but it comes at a cost. Or a way, a ritual, an action. I didn't understand what it meant, but I knew instinctively that this wasn't optional. That this was the first clue, the first breadcrumb toward escaping, if escape was even possible. I stared at the pulsing square, hands shaking, realizing that my life had become a hostage to something that didn't belong in this world. And as the night dragged on, I couldn't stop imagining the consequences of ignoring it. Because whatever this app was, it didn't just want attention. It wanted control. And the more I hesitated, the more it reminded me that hesitation was dangerous. I whispered again, almost to myself, I'll do it. I'll do whatever it wants. Just leave me alone. Oh, the pulse slowed, almost approvingly. Or perhaps it was patient. Waiting, teaching me that this wasn't about my will. It was about its own rules. And somewhere deep inside, I understood the most horrifying truth. I wasn't dealing with a program. I was dealing with a predator. Digital, yes, but patient, intelligent, and perfectly tuned to my fear. And in that silence, the black square pulsed one last time, and a new message appeared. Prepare yourself. You will understand soon. By now, I couldn't stop myself. The app consumed every thought, every waking moment. Every time I tried to work, watch TV, or even scroll aimlessly through social media, my mind wandered back to the black square, pulsing patiently in the corner of my screen. I had to know. I had to understand. I started searching. Forums, threads, obscure corners of the internet that I hadn't dared visit before. Each query felt dangerous, like poking a wound that didn't want to be touched. Unknown app, self-installing programs, digital shadows. Nothing concrete came up at first. Just warnings that sounded like coincidence. Until I found a thread buried deep, timestamped weeks ago, deleted almost entirely. Some posts were gone, but one remained. It watches. If you see it, you're already marked. I froze. My hands trembled. It watches, I whispered aloud, as if saying it would make it less real. But deep down, I knew it wasn't less real. And I also knew I wasn't alone. Other people had seen it. Others had interacted with it. Others had disappeared. I dove deeper. Websites with flickering text, links that opened and closed before I could read them, chat rooms where users typed in fragments, half-finished sentences, then vanished. Occasionally, someone would type my exact situation. It's in my phone. It knows everything. It's patient. Then they would leave, their account deleted, their messages erased. It was as if the app, or whatever was behind it, was aware of my research. I tried to rationalize for a moment. Maybe it was spyware, maybe a rogue AI experiment, maybe some hacker trying to get attention. But every rational explanation collapsed the second I looked at the pulse on my screen. It wasn't just reactive. It was sentient. I could feel it learning, mapping me, predicting my searches, even anticipating.